You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
The spring transfer portal window closes today on Friday, and Brian Kelly at the start of this portal window said he wouldn't be surprised if nobody entered the portal or if they didn't bring anyone in via the portal. And it's understandably why. LSU's done a really good job of recruiting their roster. They obviously had a great portal class when they added 16 players in the December portal window. So the roster felt set, but it also is a little unrealistic to expect there to be no movement because you go through spring and guys know where they fit, right, in the pecking order. Well, we've seen 2 LSU players enter the portal already, John Emery, who we knew, and then Javen Nicholas, a former walk-on wide receiver who had earned a scholarship, looking for more playing time, understandable. To this point, LSU has not added anybody via the portal, although we did learn on Thursday that LSU was hosting the top available player in the transfer portal for a visit. And it was at a position that we all knew that they might target, and that would be Bernard Gooden from South Florida. Bernard Gooden, the number 1 available prospect in the transfer portal, a defensive tackle from South Florida. Started his career at Wake Forest, was there for 2 years. Last 2 years at South Florida, looking to play his 5th and final season somewhere else. He's visiting LSU this weekend. Well, with that news now, there's news of another LSU player entering the transfer portal, and it's Dilan Battle, one of the freshman incoming offensive linemen. And I can't say that this is terribly surprising for a couple of reasons. First of all, I want to remind you about Dilan Battle a little bit here. So Dilan Battle, 6'2", 315. He's a guy who comes to LSU, was a 3-star prospect out of the Dallas area. He's born in Michigan, but he's out of the Dallas area. A consensus, again, 3-star, the number 59 defensive tackle, the number 83 overall player in Texas. But that wasn't necessarily the super important thing. The important thing for Dilan Battle was his relationship with Bo Davis. If you remember this, we spoke on this show with Robert DeSanto, who was Dilan Battle's high school coach. After Dilan Battle committed and signed with LSU, this was Robert DeSanto on AFR talking about the relationship that Dilan Battle had with Bo Davis.
I think it speaks volumes to not only just Dilan's commitment to the Tigers, but Dilan's commitment to Bo, because as soon as Bo left Texas, he knocked on my door one day, and I said, I didn't realize Dilan was that high on LSU's board. And his exact words were, I don't know if he's high on their board. I really hadn't even been to the office yet, but he's high on my board. And he's a guy that I want no matter where I'm at. So I think that relationship that they have is definitely something that played favors.
So the primary reason Dilan Battle ended up at LSU was Bo Davis. Bo Davis got the LSU job, immediately goes to recruit Dilan Battle, and then all of a sudden, Battle's a member of LSU's class. Well, now Bo Davis is the defensive line coach of the New Orleans Saints. Shouldn't come as a great surprise, especially now, Bo Davis gone, and you go through this spring, the Tigers are adding potentially another defensive lineman here, hosting Bernard Gooden. And while, yes, Bernard Gooden has 1 year of eligibility remaining, as does Jacobian Guillory, you could look at Don McKinley, Ahmad Bro ahead of him, and a crowded freshman class of 4 freshman signees that they've added. It's a crowded room. They're looking at someone ahead. The guy that recruited him here is now gone. It makes a lot of sense why someone like Dilan Battle might be looking elsewhere. For what it's worth, this was Brian Kelly on National Signing Day about Dilan Battle.
Dilan Battle is another player for us that fulfilled the defensive tackle position, heavy-handed, physical inside. Bo Davis really liked his ability to disrupt at the defensive tackle position.
That is, the whole crux of Brian Kelly's statement on signing day was about Bo Davis liking the player. So Bo Davis liked the player. Bo Davis is no longer here. It's a crowded room. Player has an opportunity to look elsewhere. He's taking it. So Dilan Battle, before he ever takes a snap, plays it down at LSU, enters the transfer portal. I think there's two prongs to this conversation. It's Dilan Battle leaving. It's also, what does this mean about Bernard Gooden? So we know LSU did a bang-up job in the December portal window. They added 16 players. The number one, or depending on what service you subscribe to, the number one or number two portal class, LSU, Texas Tech were the two. So you look at this situation where the Tigers had 16 transfers, one of them on the defensive line with Sadir Mitchell, in addition to the guys that we just mentioned. Now all of a sudden you're looking at adding Bernard Gooden. Dilan Battle goes elsewhere. So you look at this defensive line spot. It's pretty easy to break down why that's a place where LSU is targeting. Again, I need to reiterate this. They weren't just looking to add a body. They don't just need to add a defensive lineman. You had 9 scholarship guys with Jacobian Guillory and Sadir Mitchell and Sean Washington and Don McKinley and Ahmad Bro, and then the 4 freshmen you were bringing in. You had 9. You had 9 interior defensive linemen. You don't need numbers. Of those 9, though, Jacobian Guillory had the most starts with 5. So if you could find someone who had a wealth of experience at the Power 5 level that could give you something you don't have among your 9, that would make sense. So you look at a guy like Bernard Gooden, who started 11 of the 13 games this past year at South Florida. He's been around college football for 4 years now, going into his 5th year. Listen, he's 6'1", 280. He's not a massive guy, like just physically very different than Sadir Mitchell. But also remember, you got a new defensive line coach now in Kyle Williams. And Kyle Williams maybe looks for a different stylistic defensive tackle. Guys that can be forceful on the interior and generate an interior pass rush is something he likes a lot. It's one of the reasons I love Don McKinley. I mean, Don McKinley in limited playing time had 3 sacks last year. But let Kyle Williams get his hands on Don McKinley. I'm fired up about that. Just a random aside. But Dilan Battle entering the transfer portal here as the deadline to enter the portal is today. LSU now is a 3rd player in the portal, Dilan Battle, the defensive lineman out of Texas. Before he ever plays a snap at LSU, the Bo Davis component of that, obviously huge, and we'll see what that means potentially for Bernard Gooden. Maybe that's an indicator that in bringing in Bernard Gooden for a visit this weekend, the Tigers feel pretty good about landing him. We'll find out in short order.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.